It was one of those days where it was a little slushy out, a little slick, a little wet, and a car shot through a stop sign and stopped in the middle of the intersection right in front of me, and I unfortunately had to slide into him. Caused me to go forward in my seat, even though I was wearing a seatbelt. I managed to get my ear caught in one of the overhead consoles on the car, and it ripped the entire top part of my right ear off. I had whiplash, my legs hurt, but mostly it was the amount of blood and shock from the accident. My car was absolutely crushed in the front. They took me to the hospital. When I notified the other party's insurance of what happened, they immediately tried to tell me, oh, we'll take care of the medical bills, don't worry, and you know what, we feel so bad about this, can we go ahead and cut you a check for $5,000 for pain and suffering, and we're so very, very sorry about what happened. At that point, I decided that this is probably a negotiation that I don't feel comfortable with, and that I don't think I really am probably getting what I deserve on the matter. So after seeing lots of commercials on TV and hearing from other people's successes from it, I called Hupy and Abraham to see what they would do. Went over my case with them, and they immediately said, absolutely, you've got a case, you're entitled to what you deserve, and we'll represent you. And once I retained Hupy and Abraham as my legal counsel, the guilty party's insurance company, he had a minimum liability for the state of Iowa coverage. We decided to go to my insurance company to do a underinsured motorist claim. When my attorney called them, they immediately met it with, we don't feel his injuries were substantial enough to warrant a term limit on his underinsured. I think my policy was for $100,000 on my underinsured. They originally said that it was worth about $14,000. After talking with my attorney immediately said that that is a ridiculous, offer, and we need to keep going with this. And we kept going. They had gone back and forth, and they settled for close to about 90% of what my policy limit was. It has helped me recover from this emotionally, financially. Helped me put foot forward and to keep moving on with life. I truly believe without Hupy and Abraham, I would not have got close to the settlement that I received. Everything about the experience with Hupy and Abraham has been fantastic, truly. Tons of updates. When I called for a question, I was either answered immediately, transferred immediately, or returned immediately. Everybody from the paralegal that I dealt with, all the way to the attorney in the final negotiation phases. Felt like I was constantly aware of my situation. If someone asked me what the status of my case was, I could tell them because I knew. I didn't have to fight for information. I hired Hupy and Abraham. They represented me, and they truly did. They represented my interests. They represented what I needed and what I wanted and what I deserved, and they delivered. If you're ever in an accident, I highly recommend calling Hupy and Abraham. They will fight very hard for your interests.